On December 4th, 2019, BAND-MAID released their third studio album, Conqueror, to critical acclaim, reaching as high as number 9 on the Japanese Billboard charts. This album is considered by some to be their best work to date, and I have to agree, although it's very close between this album and the one prior to this one, World Domination. The album not only is the peak of their sound, but the band is also trying to experiment with different types of music, going for softer sounds rather than always doing harder rock songs as was the case with the previous album. So let's waste no time and take a dive into my favorite band's latest album. Before we do that though, I do need to say that I'm not a music guy at all. I know hardly anything about music. I know nothing about chords. I just learned basic song structure. I don't know what notes they're playing. I don't know what tempo they're playing at. Nothing. The only thing I really have done in music my whole life is sing in my school's choir. So if anything, I focus mostly on the vocals. But even then, I can't tell you like what note they're singing, what key they're singing in. I just focus on how it sounds. I'm also not going to be talking about what the lyrics mean and dissecting the lyrics. I tried to do that, but I just couldn't do it, as I'm not the type of person to really care about what a song is talking about. I'm just here to listen to the song. I'm here to listen to the music. With all of that out of the way, let's do it. I come into this as a fan of the band and wanted to take a crack at something I know I'm out of my depth with. Also, just so we're all on the same page, I want to quickly go over each member real quick. Saiki is the main vocalist. Miku does backup vocals and plays the rhythm guitar and is the one on the album cover. Kanami is the lead guitarist and the one doing all the solos you'll hear throughout the album. Misa's on the 5-string bass, and Akane is the one making all that amazing noise on the drums. And with that, we can now move on to the album. The album begins with Page, and to my surprise, it's not a hard rock song at all like the rest of their albums have begun with, but rather a nice soft ballad. Now, at first, I honestly didn't like that this was the opening song. I would have much rather had the album start with one of the harder songs on it, say Reincarnation or Blooming, or even the second song Glory. However, the more and more I listened to it, the more it just made sense to me that this should be the album opener. It just has that feeling to it, and the band felt the same way. When asked about why Page was the album opener during an interview with Natalie, a Japanese entertainment news website, Saiki said, "I can only think of it there, since they couldn't decide on where exactly to put the song," and Miku added that it would be a nice change from the hard rock openings they had always done in the previous albums. The song opens up with Saiki doing a solo a cappella with O's in the background, sounding very beautiful, telling us that we should just love ourselves.
Look to the clouds, don't forget to love yourself.
The song, I think, just represents the band's own ambitions about their future, since the last time they tried to do a song like this, Start Over, it wasn't received as well by some of the fandom. The song, I think, is trying to tell us that they're going to continue doing softer stuff like this along with the harder stuff, and I'm 100% okay with this, since this sounds wonderful. While the song still has kind of that rock feel to it, it is without a doubt a lot softer than most of the tracks they've done before this. In terms of how the song sounds, I absolutely love it. Whilst it's not as hard as they usually go, they still try to keep the rock in it, whether it be ramping up the sound during the chorus, or the signature solo by Kanami, which is accompanied by Saiki holding just this really long note, and together it just sounds wonderful. The guitar parts are also really nice and soft during the first verse and the introduction, setting the tone for the rest of the song. Alongside that, Akane on the drums is more heard on the verses, with her mostly just pedaling and using cymbals on the chorus. Speaking of the drums, Akane said in that same interview with Natalie that she added electronic drum beats for the first time, and it doesn't really take away from the song at all. I hardly noticed that they're electronic beats. The wailing cries from Kanami's guitar at the end are just the perfect way to end this song. The second song on the album, Glory, is also the first of 2 singles from the album. And some of you might recognize the song as it was used as the 4th ending song for the anime Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns. The video kind of reflects that in a way, with them being in a VR-like space, with shots of them wearing VR headsets. Right out of the gate, the song just blasts at you with everything hitting you at once, and that's what I love about this band. When they have the time to shine, they really show you what they are made of, and to think that this isn't even the hardest they go on this album. Kanami wails on the guitar to open us up, Akane just hammers the cymbals, and Misa just blasts the bass, and they keep this level of energy up for the entire song, and really the entire album until the bridges, or if they're doing a less intense song. Even the vocals are awesome, with Miku throwing in little words here and there to back up Psyche. Even when they sing the chorus for the 3rd time, they spice it up a little bit, with Miku repeating the whole wide world line after Psyche says it, and that is just awesome. That's what gets me hooked onto a song, changing things up a little so it doesn't get too monotonous. Also, the video for this part is really fun, with everyone just dancing around to the beat of the drum. It's really cute. It's something I always look forward to when watching the video. The song ends with them just blasting away, setting the tone for really the entire album. It's a really good way to set the tone, like this is what we're doing for the whole album. The next song is Liberal, and don't worry, I'm not going to go through all 15 songs in great depth like this, since that would be really boring and really long, but I do want to talk about a good number of them, because I love every song on this album, and I want to show you the diversity of this album and of the band themselves, since they mostly are known as a hard rock band, when really they can do a lot more than just hard rock, as you saw earlier with Paige. This track is just non-stop rock from beginning to end. From the motor-like sound bringing us into Psyche telling us to get up, all the way to Kanami just blasting away at us for the last 10 seconds, all by herself. When I think of BAND-MAID, this is the type of song I instantly think of. During the verses, there's this nice hard sound that doesn't overpower you, but builds up towards the choruses, like most of the songs on the album. The bass line by Misa during this is so good, and I know it's good because I can hear her throughout the entire song. Hearing her at all is a real big problem for me, so being able to identify and jam out to her part shows just how hard she's going through the entire track. Same with Akane, she kinda just takes a back seat during the verses, making them nice to not overpower like I said earlier, but once the chorus begins, she just goes off, giving a nice rhythm to headbang along with. On all the tracks, the girls will shine in one way or another, with this just being an example of the pure magic they can put on. I do love how the instrumentals just blast away while Psyche is just holding that really long note at the end, and then slowly letting the instrumentals take over while she just fades into the background, giving the spotlight to the instrumentals. I love that. It's so beautiful. Also, compared to every other song they've done, Psyche's voice has never sounded like this before. It's super hard to explain, so just listen to it. It's almost hypnotic how amazing her voice sounds during this, and Miku backing her up the entire time makes it even better, giving us a slightly higher pitch to Psyche, but she can also sometimes sing the lower part, whichever one is needed for the song. Everything about the vocals is just amazing, including the 2-minute mark where she just starts to speak really fast. She sounds so good when she's speaking really fast. It's amazing. Now we enter the slow part of the album, with the next few songs being more relaxed in terms of how it sounds. I think now is as good a time as ever to discuss the order of the songs in the album, since I don't know when I would bring this up again. During that same interview with Natalie, the band states that they had just been recording songs for over a long period of time, about a year in their estimation, so the album just became one without a direction but in a good way according to them. You see, before this, they had always started recording songs when they knew they wanted to release an album. But for this one, they were just recording songs and decided to release an album before their big performance of that specific tour. Even knowing that the order is, in a sense, thrown together, there's still a nice structure to it, starting off with a slow song into 2 faster songs, then dipping for a bit before rising back up into the heavier stuff. So even if it's thrown together, as they say, it's still a really good order. Next up is Endless Story, and it's one of my favorites off the album. It's another one of the lighter songs in terms of sound, and does a nice job at building us up towards the choruses. I'm going to be saying that a lot. It starts off with minimal drum play, and the spotlight is given to Misa and Kanami, who play their parts amazingly. Both of them get ample time to shine. Misa getting her time after the first chorus, she just wails on that bass, and Kanami gets her time in the spotlight at the end of this intro. Them playing their parts so well also lets us just enjoy the vocals by Saiki and Miku, who both absolutely shine during this whole song. Miku especially shines during the choruses. Her backup vocals really help bring up the lyrics, and she just brings this level of energy that makes me happy whenever I hear her. There's a part during the chorus where she hits an insanely high note, and it's the best thing about the entire song to me. It's a little hard to hear in the studio version, but in the live performance, I can hear it clearly. It's awesome. She's also the one singing all the O's throughout the entire song, and those are beautiful in every way, with the song just opening with them and ending with them, alongside an acapella from Saiki. I also want to quickly mention that the video for this is so goddamn beautiful. I have no idea where this was recorded, but the scenery is just amazing, with them just being isolated with nothing to do but to dance and sing to their own music, with each shot looking like it could be used as a background or a wallpaper on my computer. The colors are also really nice, starting out very muted, but as the song gets closer to the end they become brighter and brighter, giving the video more life. If anybody knows where this was recorded, please tell me. I want to visit this place. It's so goddamn beautiful. Next up is Mirage, which starts off very nice. Opens almost kind of like a summer jam you'd hear like in a pop song here in the States. The guitar play is phenomenal during the solo, but there's also this kind of like sliding on the fretboard. I think that's what it is. There's no video of it, but it's kind of what it sounds like to me. Like she just slides up on the fretboard, then slides back down. Even though they're playing a pretty rough style during the whole thing, it still sounds very light and lovely, which is just a feat I can't wrap my head around. Moving right on with the slower stuff, we have At the Drop of a Hat. Starting off super soft, almost acoustic in a way, but after a few seconds, it starts to pick up and slowly gets back to that familiar rock sound I'm used to hearing from them. Even though the sound picks up, much like the last song, it stays on the lighter side of things, which is always nice to hear. Having too much of just one sound can get boring after a while, so it makes sense to start switching up the styles every so often in the album. Even though I do like having the same sound, like in World Domination, it's more fresh to hear a different sound every time I'm going to a different song in the album. The album now goes away from the lighter songs with the next 3 songs, Wonderland, Azure, and Dilemma. Wonderland has this very nice vocal part at the beginning with the chorus that goes somewhat hard compared to the last few songs. This track also shows us just how much vocal range Saiki really has, with her hitting some pretty high notes in here, and if you don't quite think this is impressive enough, just go watch the song perform live and you can tell just how high those notes are. Azure has a very fast opening with the beautiful vocals to back up the sound. There's a nice section in here where Misa just absolutely goes off for a few seconds. The sound for this track is solid throughout and very nice, easy to listen to. Dilemma though is easily the best out of all three of them, with an all-around amazing sound from the beginning part with everyone playing their parts beautifully, ciPUZ doing wonders with the vocals, and having dual vocals between the two singers to close out. There's also two sections where ciPUZ and Misa sing and play the same part, and it's the best sounding thing on this track and maybe the entire album. I'll show a clip to tell you what I mean. The second single off of the album is up next, and this is probably the track I've listened to the most off of this album, Bubble. It begins with this amazing riff from Konami into just a beautiful sound from the rest of the band. A nice solid bass line from Misa along with a powerful drum line from Akane, which then all drop down, becoming more subdued when ciPUZ begins to sing, giving ciPUZ the spotlight while she's singing. It's so beautiful. As with most of the tracks here, we start to build up closer and closer to the chorus until finally exploding as the chorus hits, giving us that familiar BAND-MAID sound we've been hearing throughout the entire album. Of course, once the chorus is over, it draws the harshness back down to how it was before. The best part of the song, though, is when ciPUZ does a whole section in English, with the instrumentals more or less disappearing, aside from Akane and Konami.
Hey, listen. After everything, you only see the surface. They are missing something very important.
The song ends with them blasting away, which is something I always enjoy about this band. They let the instrumentals play us out, giving us something to enjoy while we say goodbye to the song until we inevitably hit the repeat button and play it all over again. The Dragon Cries is up next, and this song is a pretty big deal for the band for two reasons. The first is that this song is sung entirely in English, which is only their second ever song fully in English. The first English song they did, Don't Let Me Down, I like it, but the lyrics really bring it down for me. It's not that the lyrics are bad, it's just they're very descriptive. I'll show you an example of what I mean. The second reason this song is a big deal is that it was produced by Tony Visconti. I didn't know who this guy was until I did research for this album. He's a very famous music producer, most famous for producing music for David Bowie, so pretty big deal if you ask me. Since the song's pretty significant to them, this is the only song, to my knowledge, where they actually talk about how it was made. Once again, during that same interview with Natalie, they explained that they were contacted by a friend of Tony who said that they were interested in making music together. After looking into it because they thought it wasn't legitimate, makes sense to me, Konami made a demo and that was sent over to New York alongside ciPUZ and Miku to work on the lyrics together with Tony. As for the song itself, it's a unique sound for the band, as it's a very simple song, not a whole lot of layering on top of each other like we've been hearing throughout. The sounds are nice and simple, starting off with a nice solid guitar and drum sound, and continuing on until the vocals kick in. Once the vocals are in, the sound becomes subdued, not doing too much to stand out, letting us focus on the vocals. But Konami does that sliding thing again on the fretboard, which is an awesome sound by the way, which carries us into the chorus. Even though the chorus sounds all nice and epic, it's still a simple sound, not much different from the verses. There's a nice variation in the second verse's sound, with Kanami playing it slightly differently. It doesn't do that slide thing again, which I'm sad about. I like hearing that. But it makes sense. You don't want to keep using that same thing over and over again. We now get to the solo section that I love the most. It begins with Misa giving 100% of her power, and it blends in nicely with Akane on the drums. It is just beautiful. Then Kanami comes in with her signature solo that is just outstanding. And the solo section ends with Saiki doing laws alongside the final notes of the solo before having dueling vocals with Miku to close out the bridge. Before the bridge is over though, Miku shows off just how incredible her vocal range is by hitting probably the highest note on the album, and it is just amazing. The song ends off with the chorus again, and the band does the instrumental to play it out, with Kanami doing kind of a mini solo to top it all off for us. Fantastic song. The next two songs up are Flying High and Catharsis. Both songs are excellent and keep my energy high as we reach the ending of this album. Flying High is just an amazing, hard, rough sounding song coming from them with outstanding vocals the entire time. Similarly to The Dragon Cries, it's a simple mix, which is intended since they tried to copy The Dragon Cries for this one, as they stated to Natalie. They wanted to try using the same mixing style that Tony taught them during The Dragon Cries. The best part about the song is that I can hear every part throughout the whole song, which is something you can't really do, or it's something I struggle to do with every song. The solo in this is just absolutely outstanding, with every part being heard beautifully. Saiki and Miku also sound amazing during this entire track, with Miku sounding extra cute throughout the entire time she's doing the backup vocals. Throughout the whole album, really, Miku really shines in the backup vocals department. I just love hearing whatever she's doing, whether it's doing a simple 1 or 2 word thing, harmonizing with Saiki, or just going off and doing her own vocal thing. It leaves me with a smile every time. On the other side, Catharsis starts off nice and soft, but quickly picks up the harder sound. The best thing here is that the tempo is super fast, and it's refreshing to hear something entirely different this late into the album. Saiki sounds somewhat even more amazing the faster she's trying to sing. I love it. Kanami though is the star here, like always, playing her heart out throughout the entire song. There's this one section where the tempo just upshoots before chorus 2, and holy hell is it amazing. Everything about the song is just perfection. Easily one of the best songs they've put out, and one of the best on the album. Now if you're a fan of like hard rock, then the final 2 songs are one you absolutely need to listen to, because these are, without a doubt, the 2 hardest songs not only on the album, but that the band has produced so far. Starting with Blooming, it begins with just some nice drums, guitars, everything takes center stage here, having a nice solid sound to them. Once the lyrics kick in, both Miku and Kanami do this awesome thing where they kind of just strum a chord every so often, giving more emphasis to them while also letting us enjoy Saiki's voice. Then the pre-chorus. There's this nice build up with the guitars doing the same strum pattern, but adding in stuff in between them to give us an extra oomph before we hit the chorus. It's hard to describe, like the entire album, exactly what I love about the chorus, but the way it just comes at you to begin with alongside this full, solid sound just has me headbanging to it every time I listen to it. Verse 2 is probably my favorite part of the song because it starts off the exact same way as verse 1 with the strum pattern, but not too long after that, Kanami goes off on her own playing the fretboard and just has kind of like a mini solo here. It's really nice. It's amazing. Alongside the whole band doing the strum pattern after Kanami is doing her solo stuff. Not to mention that the video during this section is just stunning. Past chorus 2 we get the solo like we always do, and as always it's phenomenal. Kanami does what she normally does on this one like always, just how she plays it amazingly. And Misa's going pretty hard as well since she's pretty audible throughout the later portions of the solo. It's a nice thing to have before it goes off into the softer section to ease us in before the big bang at the end. There's this part where Miku starts singing what Saiki has just sung while Saiki sings something else, and I love that so much. I'm always singing along to Miku during this section because it's just so calming in a way. We end off with chorus 3 and some nice instrumentals while Saiki and Miku sing over everything. It's just what I needed to end the song off. Solid overall and great penultimate song of the album. Finally, we're at the final song of the album, Reincarnation. And my god, it might be one of the best songs they've put out. I honestly wish I could just play all of the song, but alas, I can't do that. Go listen to it for yourself. Trust me. It begins with Akane literally trying to destroy her drums, I swear to god. She is giving them such a beating, it's unlike anything she's done up to this point. So much so that I'm not even paying attention to anything else, just trying to grasp how great the drum play is here. After that's over though, it sounds pretty subdued honestly, with nothing to note, besides Kanami doing the slides on the fretboard again, one in the middle of the verse and one leading into the chorus. The chorus, and honestly most of the song, just belongs to Akane. She just owns on this track, and I'm not going to complain at all. I love hearing her on the drums. Saiki also has some very nice vocal work throughout all of this. Okay, so there's this part in verse 2 where Miku's doing something. I'm not sure how to describe it, so I'm just gonna play it for you. I love how it sounds, but I just don't know what it is. But like that thing right there, it lasts like what, maybe 5-6 seconds, and it's probably one of my favorite things throughout the entire song. It's these little things that I really love about music. It doesn't last long at all, but it leaves an impression on me, and it makes me want to come back over and over again just to listen to it again. I'll listen to the whole song again just to listen to that one part again. It's that catchy, and that's why I love music, man. Music is just beautiful. Once Miku's done doing whatever the hell that was, which was phenomenal by the way in case you didn't get it, the two guitars start doing something, again, I literally can't explain, so I'm just gonna have you listen to it again. I've even watched them do it in a live recording, and I still can't describe it at all. It doesn't matter though, because it sounds amazing, so even if I can't describe it, it sounds great, and that's all that matters. It needs to sound good. The solo this time around is really good, like always, but this time it's more that everyone together makes it really good. Yes, Kanami is shining like always, but everyone else just enhances her part so much. After that, Saiki delivers some lines in a beautiful voice with Misa playing her bass loudly enough for everyone to relish in, and then explodes into the final chorus. Miku throws in some backup vocals here and there, lovely like always. We get some strong instrumentals to play us out, and Saiki literally tells us to as we fade out, ending the album. And with that, we've come to the end of the album, and what a journey it was. This is one of the few albums I've really sat down and listened to on my own. Since I'm not much of an album listener, I'll just listen to like songs on their own. So trying to listen to an entire album is a really fun experience for me. Overall, the album is amazing from the first to the last song, with each song having its own unique flavor to it in order to stand out from everything else. I can't wait to see what BAND-MAID has in store for the future, and I hope it's better than this album. Seriously, if you enjoyed any track I put on here, go listen to it, go listen to the album, go listen to their entire discography. Trust me, you won't be disappointed.